What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk about VHS 85, the latest in the VHS horror anthology series that just dropped on Shudder. And I want to give you my official review and ranking. I'm going to be going through all 5 segments, ranking them each from least favorite to favorite, giving you my thoughts on each one. But before I get into it, welcome back to The Haunted Beard. It is all horror and thriller movie content here on my channel. So listen. Do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard. So with VHS 85, we obviously take a trip back to the 1980s and we get 5 brand new horror short film segments told through this made-for-TV documentary. So here we go. Let's kick off my list. Coming in at number 5, and this was really the only one out of the 5 that I genuinely did not like, but this is Techno God, or TKNOGD, and this one was directed by Natasha Kermani. And the premise here is there's this woman who is doing this sort of theatrical performance art type thing, and she's talking about how technology has become the new god, and it is slowly taking over and ruining our lives. And I will give this one a little bit of credit. I do appreciate at least the attempt to try to do something a little bit different and a little unconventional, as it's just simply this woman addressing this small little audience in this small little theater. And occasionally throughout her little performance, it goes to this screen that accompanies her performance. And there we get this guy talking about his new technology invention, and he's got these virtual gloves, and it allows you to interact with the virtual world. And he's got this headgear that looks exactly like VR goggles that we have today. And this one didn't really add up to a whole lot, and I just didn't really find any of the horror aspect very impactful or effective. And some of the references too are so on the nose that it was just kind of like an eye roll, to where it goes to this video that is accompanying her performance, and the guy has called his VR goggles his iPhones. And then she makes this reference about how we're in this sort of Black Mirror age of digital technology or whatever. And so there's these very obvious and on-the-nose references to modern-day stuff. And so you've got the iPhones, you've got Black Mirror. Clearly, we're criticizing, the dangers of technology and all that stuff. So it's all just very on the nose, and none of it's really all that well executed. It's just this woman up there doing a performance art thing, talking about how technology is ruining our lives, and then it takes a little bit of a horrific, disturbing turn at the very end. And I just found this one really underwhelming. There's not really much else to say about it. It was pretty forgettable overall. So for me, this one definitely comes in last place. I'm going to give this one like a 3 out of 10 for Techno God. Coming in at number 4 is God of Death. This one is a Spanish language segment directed by Gigi Saul Guerrero. And we get a news segment from a local news network down in Mexico, I believe. And an earthquake happens and all hell breaks loose. You get this rescue team that comes in to rescue the cameraman who has survived, and they are trying to make their way out of the wreckage. Overall, I found this one decent. It was enjoyable enough. It's pretty kind of familiar territory. There's not a whole lot here that really is very memorable or does anything different. It's all pretty straightforward. There's definitely a few cases where the cameraman would clearly not be filming anymore, and they try to acknowledge it with some of the rescue team being like, hey dude, put down the camera, but you kind of have to suspend believability, which I guess is sort of true in a lot of found footage type stuff, but this one just kind of, it was a little bit much. But like I said, it's pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot here that really does anything new or, crazy that we haven't seen before. It does give you a nice little bit of horror gore stuff in the end. I do enjoy that they brought in a little bit of the, I believe it's Mexican, Aztec, sort of ancient cultural stuff into it in the end. Correct me if I'm wrong though, because I might be wrong about that, but there is some cultural stuff in it that kind of made it stand out a little bit, but for the most part, it's kind of pretty standard, straightforward stuff. Nothing too amazing that we haven't seen before, but it's a decent enough time. So with that being said, I'm going to give God of Death a 5 out of 10. That comes in at number 4. Next up at number 3 is Total Copy. This one was directed by David Bruckner. And this is the made-for-TV documentary that we come back to that is kind of spersed and edited throughout the entire presentation of the entire movie. And it is this TV documentary about this group of scientists who have uncovered some sort of alien life form, and they are studying it and researching it and trying to communicate with it. And of course, it takes a dark turn in the end. And this one I thought was pretty good. A lot of it does feel kind of straightforward in terms of how it's executed and sort of what you get with the ultimate climax and conclusion. And some of it, I felt like it lost a little bit of its impact because it's, you know, you get little segments and pockets of it throughout the entire movie to where, you know, it's a bit kind of choppy. It sort of lost a little bit of its impact, the fact that we're kind of cutting back and forth between this one and the other segments. And so because it's edited that way, and also because it's a short film, and this one has a little bit of a sci-fi element to it, there's kind of some concepts and ideas in there that it would have been more interesting if this one had a larger platform to kind of flesh out some of those ideas and concepts. Again, them trying to communicate with this alien life form and them kind of learning about it. It has some intriguing ideas, but you don't really get the opportunity to kind of flesh them out or expand on them anymore. Ultimately, the whole purpose, it just kind of serves to getting to the end where, wouldn't you know, all hell breaks loose kind of thing. So I still enjoyed this one. The alien creature is really odd and strange looking. I'd be very curious to see what sort of, it certainly seems like a practical effect that they used for it. So I was very intrigued with that. It was very different. This one had, again, kind of good concept, kind of good ideas, and the ending is pretty fun. You get some nice kind of bloody, gory fun sort of thing. And so I enjoyed it for the most part. It's nothing great, but I had a good enough time with this one. So I'm going to give Total Copy, I'm going to go 6 out of 10 for that. Next up at number 2, and I will say for my final 2, they are definitely a tier, if not 2 tiers above the previous 3. So coming in at number 2 for me is No Wake. And this one starts off with this group of 7 friends in this RV, and they are going camping. And they explore the campsite, go skiing in the lake, and things get crazy. And the reason why this one and the number 1 are where they are is because these ones have horror-related sequences in them that I genuinely felt, that you really feel. It makes an impact and it leaves an impression, and it's just effective. You really feel like you're hooked into the horrific vision that the director is putting on screen. And so with this one, and I will be vague because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but when the sort of horror element clicks in, it really hooked me. It's this very out of left field, unexpected moment, and things get intense really, really fast. And so there was that moment that really grabbed me. I think it's executed well. You get some really nice, what seem like practical gore effects. I don't know, there may be a mix of practical and CGI, but I thought they were really effective looking. So you get that moment, and then there is this kind of unexpected twist that happens right after that really threw me for a loop as well. And then also, No Wake does something that we've never seen throughout the entire VHS franchise as well. And I won't spoil it, but I really liked it. And it overcame one of the complaints that I had with it quite well. And so I'm really glad they did this with this story and took it in that direction. And so yeah, this one is just, it's really solid. It's a unique story. I'm trying to be very vague and not, you know, give away any of the surprises, but I just really liked how they presented and told the story here. Something we've never seen before. And so it definitely earned some points for me there. And it's just got some really gnarly stuff in it. And it's exciting. It's intense. It's got just some good thrilling moments in it. And yeah, it left me wanting more, which I think is about one of the best compliments you can say for a short. So yeah, No Wake, it's a pretty fun one. I quite enjoyed it. And so it comes in at number 2. I'm going to give this one, I'm going to go 7.5, but it's a borderline 8 out of 10 for me for No Wake. So that's my number 2. Coming in at number 1 is Dream Kill. And this is Scott Derrickson's segment. And this one is pretty fantastic. And I'm not exactly sure where I would rank this within the rest of the entire franchise, but it is definitely in the top 10, maybe in the top 5. It'd be pretty close, but I quite enjoy Dreamkill. I think it's got a really good concept and idea that they execute quite well. Now, I will be honest, this one does play a little bit loose with sort of the found footage rules, but man, I just found it all so interesting and effective that I didn't really mind. The setup here is that this detective is receiving these tapes of these murders that haven't occurred yet, and then he is arriving at these crime scenes days later that are exactly matching the tapes that he has received days previous. And so something crazy is going on. Now, what exactly is happening is kind of right there in the title of this one. These tapes are from a dream. And so we get this like first person POV presentation of these 3 murders that occur throughout this segment. And the way that these murders are filmed and presented, I thought was just phenomenal. Just the look of it, these sort of colorized flares and flashes, some of the sound design and sort of the muffled sounds, and just that first-person POV, and it edits in these little, like, flashes of, like, intense blood and gore, which, again, isn't technically, you know, kind of within the strict found footage rules, but man, I just found it all presented and just so well done that I just dug it. I thought the 3 sequences of the murders that we see are just awesome. And then the story, it tells a really interesting and engaging story in, I think, 20-25 minutes. I think this one might be the longest segment, but yeah, it's just a really interesting story. It's got an element of mystery to it. It has a little bit of character growth and development in it. And then you get just a really cool, gnarly and bloody finale. And it, you know, it's kind of got a couple little twists and turns in there too that leave you guessing. And this one I just found it's a really cool idea and concept executed, I think, really, really effectively. So I was quite impressed with Dreamkill. I think there's a lot about it that is just really impressive that I really enjoyed. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a really top-notch one. So for me, I'm going to give Dreamkill, I'm going to go 8.5. I think, yeah, I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10 for Dreamkill. I think this one is pretty solid stuff. So that's my official review / ranking of the new VHS film. Let me know down below. Hit me up. Let me know what your guys' thoughts were. Did you like this overall? Did you hate it? What's your ranking? Which one was your favorite? Let me know. Would love to hear from you. So that's all I got for you. Like always, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time on The Haunted Beard.